Just take your burdens, take it to the Lord, leave it there. Trust in the Lord and never you doubt, 'cause He is surely gonna lead you out. Morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome into the morning live. You are in the right place at the right time. That is, yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another morning, and it's the time for you know what. You know what we do when we come here at this time of the morning. It's for one reason and one reason only, and that is to read the good book. Yes, that's why we are here each morning, just to read the good book. We are not here um, to contradict anybody religiously. We are not here to convince anybody, convict anybody, convert anybody, or condemn anybody. We are not here for that purpose at all. I am here to read the Bible out loud. If you want to listen to the Bible being read out loud, you are in the right place. If you are one of those people who would love to know what is in the Bible, but you just can't be bothered with reading it, oh, it's too long, oh, it's too controversial, oh, it's too this, it's too that, you can't be bothered. But guess what? You want to tout the Bible to people. You want to tell people they're going to go to hell. You want to tell people when they die, they're going to come back to life. You want to tell people all these things. But you can't be bothered with reading the book that you claim told you to tell people all these things. Ain't that something? Imagine you going to school, huh? Going to school and studying sociology, but never picking up a sociology book. You hear somebody tell you something about sociology and you use it throughout your whole career, but you never read a book to hear what one philosopher said or what one sociologist said. You never read one study. You did nothing of that sort, but you are able to tell people to diagnose people with social disorders and all. Ever heard of it? I never heard of it, because there's absolutely no way that I could practice my profession without ever having read the books and studied the studies that they have done. And there's no way I couldn't. But there are people out here who are practicing, preaching, teaching, condemning, converting, and crucifying people based on the Bible that they themselves have never read. Ain't that interesting? It is. So that explains me being here, because I am feeding my curiosity. This really has nothing to do with you. It's really me. I want to feed that curiosity of mine to know what is in the Bible. Okay? And with that, when I come here, I endorse no particular religion or denomination. Let's get that straight. Okay? I know some people come here, they always say, "Oh, Trev, you need to pray before you read the Bible." I have said this many times and I'm saying it again, because some of you may not have heard. But when I come to read the Bible, I don't endorse any religion or denomination. I have people here who are from all different religious persuasions. And though I am reading the Bible for me, I'm also respectful to the people who are here in support of me reading the Bible. So it would be quite hypocritical of me to say I'm not endorsing any religion or denomination. Then I pray. All right. I'm sure you made the connection. So with that, we are going to start the reading. Ryan is here. Ryan said the church is doing bad things. It's not the church, actually. It's the people. It's the people. The people are doing very bad things. People who claim to be quite associated with the church, whichever denomination, whichever church. Mike, what's up? How are you doing, my love? They are doing really, really egregious things. We have seen in recent days where there have been a lot of arrests made and charges laid against men of the cloth who have been found to be child predators. You know, um, that in of itself is a very egregious act to commit against any human being, let alone an innocent child. For you to rob a child of their childhood, of their innocence. Yeah. Um, that I believe is one of the unforgivables, or should be. Dervan, you know how long I've been here? I have been here for 6 minutes. I've been waiting for you to come, Dervan. How have you been, my love? Good to see you. Happy, is it Wednesday already? The week is going so fast. Happy Wednesday to you, Dervan. How have you been, my love? Good to see you as always. Good to see you. So guys, if you are here with me, please get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one you have, and we are going to continue with the reading. This morning we are going to be reading from the Acts chapters 26, 27, and 28, and that will end our reading of the Acts. Now, I know some of you, I see the messages and the texts where people are saying, oh, how did I miss the reading from the beginning? Oh, people, you all have got to forgive me, especially the people on the talk. You've got to forgive me because I was not so in tuned to the talk at the time when I started the reading. And so the people over there on the tube, they have been with me from the day I started with in the beginning. I have to apologize, but don't worry. When we are finished reading the Bible, it's not like it's going to be that we finish reading the Bible and that's it. No, that's not going to be it. We are going to continue to go it over and read it some more because there's always going to be people who have never heard it, never read it, and have desires to hear what's in it. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Why not? Why not? All right. So with that being said, my lovely people, it is your turn to pull out your book Bible and let us read. Yesterday when we read, we saw where Paul his persecution continued for various reasons and across the entire region with many different sects of Jewish people. You know, Paul was imprisoned. Paul was being persecuted so severely that over 40 Jewish men had made this oath, this pact, that they were not going to eat or drink until Paul was killed. Imagine you making a pact like that on the life of another human being. I'm not going to eat or drink anything until that human being is dead. Imagine the level of hatred you have got to be harboring in your heart for you to make that pact, to make that oath. Well, That's what over 40 Jewish men had done with Paul. And as we read the Bible, we saw where it was even past 2 years after they had made that pact that Paul was still imprisoned. And the governors really couldn't find what to charge him with. The Jews who were against him, they had presented all kinds of evidence. And the governor says, all these things that you all have presented to me, none of it arises to the level of death. None of it. So you all gotta come better than that. Because what you all are accusing him of are things that are also included in you all's beliefs, your beliefs as well. So what exactly are you all charging him with? You know that they were charging him because he was preaching the gospel of Jesus. A lot of these people were opposed to the gospel of Jesus because it had some differences to the teachings of Moses. And the teachings of Moses was what was handed down to these people generation to generation. And now here comes Jesus, and Jesus's teachings were different. There was a lot of forgiveness, there was grace. He taught the apostles about angels and spirits, like the afterlife and stuff like that. He frowned upon like circumcision and that sort of thing. And so the people who held the teachings of Moses close to their heart, they couldn't understand that. They couldn't understand that because to them, what Moses taught them was their gospel. And for them to change, it would be as though they are going against their whole religious tradition. It would be as if they are deceiving themselves and their foreparents. They didn't want to do that. It was hard to come by. There were others, though, who were willing to accept the teaching of Paul. And they were jumping on board with Paul's teachings. But the others were putting up a fight. Yeah. So they made this pact. And because the governor couldn't find anything that was any offenses of Paul that was worthy of putting him to death, these Jews were not happy. Because the longer Paul stayed alive, the hungrier they became. I'm sure that original 40-something people who made that oath after Paul being in prison for over 2 years, they either reneged on that and started eating, or they all died a miserable and hungry death, and then others followed suit and started to, make the same oath, keeping that oath, or going back on it because Paul was still not dead. And up until we finished reading chapter 25, Paul was still not yet dead. Okay? That's how seriously some people take their religion. Yeah? To Ryan say, today we will fight back. Well, that is true. That was their way of fighting back then. And today, people will fight back. I mean, it's within our nature to oppose the things with which we do not agree, the things that do not sit well with us. Just a few years ago, we experienced another instance where people were, clashing heads because there were some who wanted to believe in this new advent of Jibba Jabba, and then there were others who didn't, and it made a lot of enemies, and yeah, people hated their families, people stop their families from coming to their homes. They would not go into their family members' homes. It caused, and until now, there's a lot of bad blood being spilt because of what we experienced just a few short years ago. Somebody here named Heartaches says, "Hey, Mama, do you believe in God?" I would kindly ask you to not ask me that question, because whether I do or not, it will be none of your business. Anyway, let us continue. Ryan says, in the Old Testament, the prophet was feared. Yeah, you're right. You are right, because in the Old Testament, once you aligned yourself with prophecy, once you claimed to be a prophet, the people suddenly, no matter if you were just a little old mendicant on the street, like Jeremiah, if you claim to have dreamt a dream, if you claim that you had seen God and God had spoken to you, then all of a sudden you were elevated. Everybody respected you. And we know, Ryan, that there were lots of people who claimed to have dreamt dreams, who claimed to have seen God. It wasn't true. It was not true. And they lied and misled the people. If you remember the story in the Kings of King Isaiah, however his name was pronounced. If you, King Ahaz, his name is written and pronounced different ways. But if you remember him, remember when he was about to go to war, he wanted to go fight with Syria back for the land that was initially Israel's, and he wanted to go get it back. But he wanted to take it back by force. And he asked the king, Jehoshaphat, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is a ripe time for us to go and fight for the land? And Jehoshaphat said, listen, man, I don't think so, but we need to consult the prophets, because, consulting the prophets was essential whenever they intended to go to war. They had to consult the prophet to see if it was the right time, if winning was in their favor. It would be based on the time of the year, the political climate in the country that they were planning to go up against, the leader at the time, whether that leader was friendly towards them or there was a lot of animosity towards them. There are lots of factors that came into play. So when Ahaz and Jehoshaphat had that conversation, Jehoshaphat said he didn't think it was the right time. He think they should consult the prophets. He has called 400 prophets. How many I said? Wasn't it 400? He called 400 prophets and asked them if they think it was the right time for him to go up and fight for the land, back for for Israel's land from the Syrians. And all those prophets told them, yes. They talked to God. And God told them, yes, he should go up. Now is the right time to go and fight for the land. And Jehoshaphat said, there's something not right about this. Something not right about this, 400 of them, all of them say yes. God say a time for go fight. He said, no more prophet around here who we can ask. And he says, what did Ahaz say to Jehoshaphat? He said, I know one prophet down there named Micaiah. But I don't like that man, because he never taught nothing good about me. Now, it is not that Micaiah has never spoken anything good about King Ahaz. It is because Micaiah was what we're going to call a true prophet. Because whatever Micaiah told him, Micaiah had gotten an inspiration about it. Micaiah wasn't just talking off his head. And whatever Micaiah told him, it would come true. But because it didn't come true in his favor, he said Micaiah didn't like him. So Micaiah didn't prophesy anything that was favorable for him. And Jehoshaphat said to him, so, well, even so, you need to call him and ask him what he thinks about us going to fight Syria at this time. And unwillingly, he decided to send someone to call Micaiah. And when Micaiah came, there was even a squabble between him and Hezekiah because him and Zedekiah, because if you all remember, Zedekiah shot Micaiah a box. Yes, a box. Shot him across him face, a box. Saying, how comes God pass him? Because this Zedekiah here, he was sure that God would choose him for anything that he wanted to do. God would choose him. And he had come ready for war. He had made his helmet. He had made his armor that he claimed God told him to make. And he was ready for battle. And here comes Micaiah saying, now is not the right time to go to battle. Because in my vision, I see Israel. I see the children of Israel on the hillsides of Israel like lost sheep without a shepherd. And that indicated that the king would be slain if he went to battle at that time. And you hear what King Ahaz say? What me tell you, say? I told y'all that this Micaiah, this prophet Micaiah, was not going to say anything good about me. I told y'all he wasn't going to. And prophet Micaiah say, well, that's what I see. That's what was revealed to me by the Most High. But King Ahaz wouldn't listen. So what he did, and remember what he did? He decided to switch robes with King Jehoshaphat and to go to battle. He went to battle, and the king of Syria sent out his soldiers, and he told his soldiers, he said, you got cook or goat. He told his soldiers to slay no one. Don't shoot your arrows until you are sure that it is the king of Israel you are shooting it at. Make sure if he comes, he gets slain. And he's riding in the chariot, and Jehoshaphat is wearing the kingly robe of Ahaz. And when the soldiers raised up their arrows to shoot, Jehoshaphat said, hold up. This is not the king. This is me. No, don't shoot. One soldier decided that he was going to shoot his arrow anyway. And as fate would have it, he shot the arrow. And even though King Ahaz was clothed in his armor and everything, the arrow found one little spot in between the armor. And it speared King Ahaz. And while the battle was raging on and soldiers were dying left and right, King Ahaz was put on the floor of the chariot, and there he laid and bled out. Saying all of this to say, of the 401 prophets, only one was right. All right. With that, let us move right along. I see many people coming into the chat. I have not yet said hello or welcome to you. Those of you over there on the tube, welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. If you have not yet hit the like button, please hit the like button. Me nah do nothing wrong too, no. If you don't hit the like button, don't think me I get rich. But if you don't hit the like button, I'm gonna get rich, me share to do no. I love people over here on the talk who are always tapping on your screens. I sincerely appreciate y'all. I appreciate you. Welcome. Happy Wednesday morning to you all. All right, guys. So get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one. And let us continue to read the Acts and find out what has happened to Paul as he remained a prisoner, awaiting awaiting the judgment from the leaders, waiting for them to say whether or not he should be set free, or are they going to cook up some more charges against him, more egregious charges that has the potential to cause him to be executed. Let us read. Let us read. If you have your book Bible or your Google Bible, just come with me now. My bark is worse than my bite. I'm in a really bark, I'm in a really bite. So therefore, you are safe in my space. There is no judgment. There is no hate. Yeah. I stand on business when I come over here. Yeah. Don't ask me no foolishness. Don't ask me what me believe in, who me believe in, which church me go and that. This is not about religion. This is not about church. This is not about who I believe in, whether I believe or not. This is not about nothing. It has nothing to do with that. Don't even start assessing my religious affiliation, because that's why I make that disclaimer that when I come here, I represent no particular religion or denomination. All right? Good. So with that being cleared up, we're going to move right on. Let me turn on the light here. Okay. All right. Okie dokie, lovely people. Let us begin. I was waiting to see one person come into the live, but I don't see her. I don't see her yet. But I'm gonna start anyway. She'll pop in later on. All right, gentle people. The Acts chapter 26. Then Agrippa, now remember the king who had come with his wife Bernice. That was Agrippa and his wife Bernice, right? And the King Festus had told them that he had assessed. He had Lati, what's up, sugar? How you doing? Good morning, my love. Man, you up early. Yeah, so y'all remember how King Agrippa and his wife Bernice had shown up, and King Festus had told them the challenge he was facing at the moment, where it concerned Paul and the Jews who wanted to unalive him. And so King Agrippa, they had decided that King Agrippa would now assess the situation to see if him and King Festus would come up with the same, with the same ruling. Okay. So in 26 it says, then Agrippa said to Paul, myself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused by the Jews. Okay? Verse 3, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Jews. Wherefore, I beseech thee to hear me patiently. All right, it's like in a court, Paul, pleading his case. Let us continue. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own national at Jerusalem, whom know all the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, and lived a Pharisees. Okay, so here he's laying out his cause. So those who know him from the beginning, from childhood, and know which sect he belonged to, and his religion he had lived as a Pharisee. And now, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our fathers. Hey Kagan, how are you doing, my love? I am doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for asking. I hope you are doing well this morning. Unto which promise, verse 7, this is, guys. Unto which promise our 12 tribes, instantly serving God day and night, hope to come, for which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews. Why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that God should raise the dead? Okay, now remember in yesterday's reading, that was one of the controversies because Jesus had been raised from the dead, and to this Paul preached. However, the ancient Jewish people, they did not believe that Jesus was raised from the dead, and they do not believe that people who have died can be raised from the dead. So that was one of the contentions. Okay? So here, Paul is saying to King Agrippa, you don't believe some people can be raised from the dead? I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth, which thing I also did in Jerusalem. And many of the saints did I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priests. And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them. So here, Paul is telling King Agrippa of his past. And we remember having read that Paul was the lead. He was the lead prosecutor of the Jews for Jerusalem. He was the one who led armies to go out and find people who were following the gospel of Jesus. And he was the one who was lending his voice to their torture, to their imprisonment, and ultimately to their death. And now he said to King Agrippa, this is who I was. This is what I did. And now I am changed. Now I am preaching against what I am preaching against what I previously stood for. Verse 11, he says, and I punished them often in every synagogue and compelled them to blaspheme. And being exceedingly mad against them, I persecuted them even unto strange cities. He persecuted them so much, some of them had to run away. People had to run away just to escape the ruthless and relentless persecution of Paul. All right, let us continue. Whereupon, as I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priests, at midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me. And when we were all fallen to the ground, I heard a voice speaking unto me, and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet. Unto thee for this purpose, to make a minister and a witness both of these which I will delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee. That's pretty straightforward there. Let us continue. Verse 18, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient unto the heavenly wisdom, unto the heavenly vision, but shewed first unto them of Damascus, and at Jerusalem, and throughout all the coast of Judea, and then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to God, and do works meet for repentance. For these causes the Jews caught me in the temple, and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help of God, I continue until this day, witnessing both to small and great, saying none other things than those which the prophets and Moses did say should come. All right. So here, Paul is saying, I ain't be doing nothing wrong. I was just preaching the word that God told me to say. And, excuse me, a lot of this that I am preaching are prophecies that also existed from the time of Moses. So I don't see what the big deal is. Let us continue. Cardi's here. Cardi, wake up. It's about them time. About time. Good morning, my sister. How are you doing? Kat says, good morning. First time the Gentiles are included. Okay. They are now included in the teachings. They've been included in a minute, right? Are we right with that? I was waiting for you to respond. Tell me. You tell me. All right, let us continue. Verse 23. That Christ should suffer, and that he should be the first that should rise from the dead, and should show light unto the people and to the Gentiles. And as he thus spake for himself, Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learning doth make thee mad. You ever hear there's some people who study too much till them turn idiot? This is what Festus say of Paul. Yeah, man, your learning has made you mad. You know too much till you talk rubbish. Okay, so God said the Gentiles were never included. You mean in Jesus' teachings until now? Well, remember that and in the earlier readings, we had read that Jesus, when he was first sending out the disciples to go preach and teach and heal and raise dead and all those things, he told them that they should find out from the people who they were going to minister to whether or not those people were Jews. Yeah, he did make that stipulation initially. But then afterwards, he did tell them to go preach and teach to everybody. Jews and Gentiles, everybody included. Those who believed, those who did not believe, those who were from this sect of Judaism and the other sect, and those who did not believe at all, to everybody. Let us continue. But he said, I am not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness. Never call him silent madman. Oh my word. For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner. All right. Renata, how are you doing? Good morning to you, my love. Happy Wednesday to you. What time is it for you down there? I always keep forgetting. What time is it for you in Brazil, my love? Verse 27. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. You hear that? You hear that? King Agrippa was so stricken by, you know, by Paul's delivery that he said, Paul, you know, so you almost turned me in a Christian. And Paul said, I would to God that not only you, but also all that hear me this day were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds. See, you what Paul said to him? King Agrippa said, Paul, you nearly turned me in a Christian. When me listen to you speak, me want to follow you. Me want to follow the teachings that you are following. Paul said, yeah, not only you. I would wish that you would accept. But not only you, but everybody else who hear me today. And the only thing I wish not for you is these shackles. Let us continue. Verse 30. And when he had said this, the king rose up, and the governor, this was Governor Festus and King Agrippa, and Bernice. Remember, Bernice was King Agrippa's wife. And they that sat with them. And when they were gone aside, they talked amongst themselves, saying, this man does nothing worthy of death or these bonds. Yeah, nothing worthy of death or these shackles that you all have put on him. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, this man might have been set free, he had not appealed unto Caesar. Yeah. So then change your mind, them not set him free. Look how me kind of get excited thinking them are going to set him free. But here Agrippa said unto Festus, this man might have been set free if he had not appealed unto Caesar. Because remember, he had appealed to Caesar, you know, when they had first charged him. So now them are going to punish him for having appealed to Caesar? Interesting, huh? Me tell you, so the Bible very interesting, you know. If we only take time to read it, it's very, 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 very interesting. All right, so it looked like they're not going to free him after all. I was getting a little bit excited there, thinking that that's what was going to happen. But let us continue. That's the end of chapter 26. So we are going to move right along into chapter, see, at 6 o'clock. Yeah, I really want to go do some early morning work in my garden. But anyway, we are going to continue doing this until afterwards. All right. So let us continue. We are on to chapter 27. For those of you who are just coming, welcome into the live. You are in the live of Trev from Trevessence, and every morning we gather here to do the Bible reading, not for any conversion, conviction, or condemnation of anybody, but rather for my own personal edification of knowing what is in the Bible, the book which have been given to me as my moral guide. I've decided to read it to find out what is in it, and I've decided to do so out loud so that those of you who share that same curiosity as me can listen and follow along. All right? We're not convicting anybody here. We're not converting anybody. We're not condemning anybody. None of that. This is a safe space for you to listen to the Bible reading. And the readings in the Bible have come in just handy right now because there is a whole controversy over there in Louisiana. For those of you who haven't heard, did you all hear that the governor last Wednesday, the governor of Louisiana signed a bill into law that all schools from kindergarten through to university that receives public assistance should display a copy of the Ten Commandments in every classroom. Yes, he has. He has. And with that has come a lot of controversy because we know that the American school system is wide open and accepting for people of all religions. Oh, Naron Gentles, Naron, what's up? Yeah, is open to people of all religion. And according to the First Amendment, there shouldn't be any commingling church and state because that would mean that some people are going to be excluded and it's going to make other people feel less than, and there's going to be a kind of discrimination, and all kinds of charges are being laid now at his feet because of the passage of this law. In his defense, though, he has said that we need to go back to the original Judaic foundation of our laws, which, in fact, our laws are based on the foundation of the genesis of the Judaic religion. That is for sure. But then again, the Constitution has been in place to ensure that no group is beaten into submission to another. But we will see where this takes us because the ACLU has already filed documents against the governor. Texas has promised to follow Louisiana, and I'm sure there are other states that are going to try to jump on board. But we will see as this leads up to the November election, we will see where this takes us. But before I go any further, I was talking to my dear sister yesterday. And boy, let me tell you, I would be hard pressed to say I've come upon a smarter person. Boy, sis, I'm telling you, yeah, your brain be firing. And this is what she says to me. In defense of this, what I would ask is, regardless of your religious affiliation, what part of the Ten Commandments do you disagree with? And I thought, damn, that was genius. Because people are opposing the Ten Commandments so viciously. But then when you read it, when you read the Ten Commandments, you have to ask the question, like, are you opposed to the part that says thou shalt not kill? Are you opposed to thou shalt not steal? Are you opposed to honor your father and your mother? Are you opposed to thou shalt not covet? Are you opposed to remembering the Sabbath day to keep it holy? Well, you might be opposed to that. Are you opposed to thou shalt have no other gods before me? Well, you might be opposed to that because the concept of God can be seen and accepted any way you want. And different societies have had different gods. If you talk about an Indian society, they have gods for everything: God of the tooth, God of the lips, God of the nose, God of everything. So that's how expands their concept of God is. So if you say thou shalt have no other gods above me, you might get some pushback there. But the majority of these 10 commandments we all can agree with, right? Right? So is it the opposition just because it is a Judaic document? Why there is such a pushback? I don't know. I leave that question out in the open. But we are going to continue and we will see. We will see. I am neutral in all of this. I go one way or the other. I am neither for nor against, because if the 10 commandments, if displaying the 10 commandments means we have a reduction in all this death and mayhem and that's going on in society, I'm for it. If displaying it, but I don't think displaying it is going to do that. There needs to be reform in the justice system for us to be able to keep these violent criminals away from the rest of us. I'm all for the DP. I am all for it. Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, because there are some crimes that are so heinous and they are cut and dry. There is no doubt who did it. And then you have these people, you give them 10 years, give them a plea deal, and they come back out, and they are roaming society. And the next thing you hear, they analyze somebody else. Just yesterday, there was that boy, that man down there in Florida, deciding that he must take out some people, took out his mother and 2 other women, and was on his way to Georgia to go take out some other people. Like, what? Those kinds of people should not be around. And I'm so glad the police, I'm so glad the police got to hammer him before he was able to go take another life in Georgia. You know. So I am all for it. These people should be kept away from the rest of us. And the justice system is not doing a good job at keeping the rest of us safe. They keep letting out these people, letting them out, giving them 20 years. When you give somebody 20 years in prison, this prison system is not reformative, you know. No, it is not. So they go into prison and they spend even 20 years. And when you let them back out, there are still those of us who are out here, you know, trying to go about our daily lives. And even though they might be older, if somebody is 20 and you give them 20 years, they come out at 40, they're still young and strong. What did they acquire? What life skills did they acquire in prison for them to come out and live bad? You just give them one envelope under their arm and chuck them out. They come out, they have to interact with the rest of us. They are still a threat, especially if it was something that they had sat down and plotted and planned to do. That person still exists within them. That capability still exists within them to come out and create mayhem. I don't care if you lock them up forever. Yeah. But anyway, we are going to continue with the reading because even until now, Paul is still in prison. Sister Winsome, I've been working my way back to you, girl. Sister Winsome, good morning, my love. How are you doing? Good morning, Sister Winsome. Good to see you. You know, I told the people I've been waiting for a particular person all morning. You know that person was you, Sister Winsome? Yes. I've been waiting for you all morning. Why are you waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, Winsome? Huh? Don't make it up again. Okay? All right. With that, we are going to move right along into the Acts chapter 27, Winsome. Where the guys? My lipstick. I don't care if it's early in the morning. Why you say early in the morning when I put on lipstick? Hey, watch yourself. Watch yourself. I put on my lipstick any time of day. Sometimes I run me, I go to my bed. But anyway, let us continue. Winter, I get your Bible yet? You ready? Me not have... I can't with you know it's so... You know, Winsome. No, but Winsome, remember, I told you all that I was going to resume because I was back from vacation. So I was going to resume coming on at 5 o'clock, especially when I'm at work, I can't do the 5 o'clock. But when I'm not at work, 5 o'clock it is. Yeah. Just take me as you see me. And if you miss some of it, you can always go back and listen to it on the tube. Okay? All right. So let us continue. Let us continue. You get your Bible yet? You ready? Oh, you never hear. You must have did come late, man. Hush. Hush. But you know I will give you one-on-one reading. You know that. Let us continue, lovely people. We are on to the book of the Acts chapter 27. Yeah. Get your book Bible, Google Bible, and come along. Read with us. Paul is still in prison. Yeah. King Agrippa and Festus, so them never let out Paul because Paul had appealed to Caesar. And when it was determined, now this is chapter 27. And when it was determined that he should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus's band. And entering into a ship, well, let me put my Bible good there, so. And entering into a ship of Adramithium, okay. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia. One Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. Mighty God, don't forgive me right there, so people. Let me see if I can do that again from the beginning. And when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus's band. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia. One Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. And the next day we touched at Sidon. That means they stopped at the city of Sidon. And Julius courteously entreated Paul and freed him to go on to his friends to refresh himself. Now remember, in Sidon, Paul had lots of followers because he had traveled there repeatedly and preached. So, he thinks, he might do Paul a little favor. Let off Paul, make him go talk to his people, his believers, as they are hauling him and other prisoners over to Italy. And the next day we touched at Sidon, and Julius courteously entreated Paul and gave him liberty to go on to his friends to refresh himself. And when he had launched from there, we sailed onto Cyprus because the winds were contrary. And when we had sailed over the sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra, a city of Lycia. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us in it. And he put us in it. Hold on one second. Let me investigate something here. Let me investigate something here. Where card they? Card. Cardoy. Was Luke the author of the Acts? Because when the person says put us in it, that is first person plural there. Yeah. That person, that means that the author is there. So I just looked up to see who was the author of the Acts, and it said the evangelist Luke was. Okay. That's interesting. But me don't want to go off on a tangent right now. I have to go do that. I have to go do that separately. Yeah, me don't want to go off on a tangent right now. But yeah. But let us continue. We unlock is here. Welcome, my love. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Let's continue. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy. Please say a prayer for me. We unlock. Yeah, we're gonna talk off the ear, my love. We're gonna talk. Whatever that is, we are going to talk, okay? Okay, so let us continue. And there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us on it. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come over against Cnidus, the wind not suffering us, we sailed under Crete, over against Salmon. And hardly passing it, came unto a place which is called the Fair Havens. The Fair Havens. Near whereunto was the city of Lasea. So the author is apparently on this ship with Paul and the other prisoners. Somebody on here named Ernest said there is a little bit of discrepancy, but the authorship is known as to be Paul. Well, according to what I am reading here and the pronouns, it don't sound so. Because the person is talking of Paul and they're talking of us. So if he says us, it means he's with Paul. He doesn't say he is Paul. So me kinda confused right there. So, but confusion or not, we have come upon numerous controversies in the Bible. But that not stop us from reading. I appreciate you, Ernest. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But let us continue. All right. Verse 9 of chapter 27 of the book of the Acts, for those of you who are just coming. Now, when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous, because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them. So clearly it wasn't Paul who was right. Can't be. Because then, if it was Paul, Paul would have referred to himself as I. But he never referred like that. somebody else is referring to Paul and referring to himself being included in the group. So he's using us and we. But when he refers to Paul, he mentions Paul. I guess because the story is really to highlight Paul's journey. But let us continue. Verse 10. Verse 9 it says, and Paul admonished them and said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading and ship, but also of our lives. So Paul saying, me not trust this voyage here, This voyage might be dangerous and we might all lose our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed the master and the owner of the ship more than those things which were spoken by Paul. The author would have said those things that were spoken by me. Fair enough? Okay. So Anna Paul writes, the story is being written about Paul, but it's not Paul writing. All right. So let us continue. And because the haven, not heaven, the haven, remember it says they were at this place called the Fair Havens, Havens. Verse 12 says, and because the haven was not commodious to winter in. Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of buying and selling going on during the winter time in this place called the Fair Havens. Because the haven was not commodious to winter in, the more part advised to depart thence also, if by any means they might attain to Phenice, and there to winter, which is an haven of Crete, and lies towards the southwest and northwest. And when the south wind blew softly, so they were having a hard time steering the ship, getting the ship to be where it want to be. So with all that with all that bad weather that was going on, they were trying to see if they could find alternate places to land. So they were taking into account the season, what goes on in those places where they could land. Is there buying and selling going on? Could they do trade? Is it a place that is going to be accommodating to them? They were having that conversation on board. All right. Verse 13, and when the south wind blew softly, supposing that they had obtained their purpose, losing thence, they sailed close by Crete. But not long after, there arose against it a tempestuous wind. This wind was called Euroclydon. 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 That was the name of that wind. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive. Vaughn, blessings to you. Good morning, my love. How are you doing? Yeah, so this wind here come upon the ship. So they just let the wind take the ship wherever, I guess. And running under a certain island, which was called Clauda, we had much work to come by the boat, which when they had taken up, they used helps, undergirding the ship, and, fearing lest they should fall into the quicksands, strake sail, and so were driven. And we being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. Yeah, so them lightened the ship the next day. I guess they took off all of the loads off the ship, because this wind that was called Euroclydon, this wind was giving the ship a beating. Verse 19 says, and the third day we cast out with We cast out with our hands the tackling of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. So, my God, the ship out there just get tossed round and tossed round. They are throwing off some of the burden off the ship to lighten the ship, but the ship is just they are worried that the ship might sink because of how this wind is tossing the ship back and forth, back and forth. Verse 21. But after long abstinence, all right, God, God says sometimes we should listen to the experts, but listen to the spirit of wisdom. You are so right. So right. Let us continue. But after a long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, he should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. You see now, you see now, my love, so it's definitely not Paul writing. Paul speaks in the narrative here, but he's not the one who is writing. And Paul tells them now, nobody not going to lose their life. We're not going to lose anything else, and nobody's going to lose nobody among us, none of us is going to lose our life here. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am, and whom I serve. Now, was somebody reporting that Paul said this? Okay. Verse 24, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be Caesar, and lo, God hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God, that it shall be even as it was told to me. Howbeit, we must be cast upon a certain island. But when the 14th night, you see how long them they are see? But when the 14th night was come, as we were driven up and down in Adria, about midnight, the shipmen deemed that they drew near to some country, and sounded, and found it 20 fathoms. And when they had gone a little further, they sounded again, and found it 15 fathoms. Then, fearing lest we should have fallen upon rocks, they cast 4 anchors out of the stern, and wished for the day. It was midnight, and they wished the day would come so they could see what they are up against, so they could see around them. Because remember, them say, how much days they not see no star nor no sun. Yeah, so I guess it was a storm. It was cloudy. They couldn't see the stars. They couldn't see the sun either, because the clouds were blocking out the sun. And as the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea, under color as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, except these abide in the ship, he cannot be saved. So Paul said to them, "No, come off of the ship. For if you not come off of the ship, you're not going to be saved. If there is drowning to be had, you go and drown if you not come off of the ship. But if you not stay upon the ship, you all will be saved, just like I believe I will be saved by my God that is talking to me. All right, let me see if them are going to listen. Verse 32. When the soldiers cut off the ropes of the boat and let her fall off, and while the day was coming on, Paul besought them all to take meat, saying, This day is the 14th day that he had tarried and continued fasting, having taken nothing. Wherefore I pray you to take some meat, for this is for your health. For there shall not any hair fall from the head of any of you. And when he had said this, he took bread and gave thanks to God in the presence of them all. And when he had broken it, he began to eat. Then were they all of good cheer, and they also took some meat. And we were in all in the ship 216 souls. That is how many people? 200. 3 scores is 60. That's 200 plus 60 and 16. So that is 76. That's 276 people were on the ship with Paul, sailing to Italy. 276 people were on the ship. Me Jesus. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship and cast out the wheat into the sea. And when it was daylight, they knew not the land. See, they didn't know where they were. They discovered a certain creek with a shore into which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust in the ship. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made towards shore. And falling into a place where 2 seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart stuck fast and remained unmovable, but the back part of the ship was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners. Them God said, them glad Sir Paul break the fast. Them glad Sir Paul break the fast, because I guess they were, some of them were included in the 40 odd men who had made that oath that unless Paul is killed, they shall not eat anything. I guess them glad. That is so funny. It made sense, because at this time they need all the strength they can muster. All right. But see here, so now they have run the ship aground. So the front of the ship mash up because it's stuck in the sand, and the back of the ship mash up because the waves have battered it. Let us continue. And the soldiers, verse 42, and the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. So they don't want the swimmers, the prisoners to escape. So now they are thinking about unaliving them. All right. Paul, you know, sir, from morning, me there, wait for you. Good morning, Paul. How are you doing? I've been waiting on you all morning, you know. And you're just now showing up. Why? Eh? All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody who is here. Or those of you, all of you who are here, welcome. We are reading the book of the Acts. This morning, we are going to finish the reading of the book of the Acts. Actually, we are reading chapter 27 for those of you who are just coming. We are reading chapter 27 of the Acts. We are on to verse 43, but I'm going to go back to verse 40 and read on. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made towards the shore. So now they are decided they are definitely going to shore. And falling into a place where two seas meet, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart, that's the front of the ship, stuck fast, and remained unmovable. But the back part of the ship was broken with the violence of the waves. Hey, Llewellyn, thank you for that share. Good morning. How are you doing? And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to land. And the rest, some on boards, and some on broken pieces of the ship. At the Titanic, this just got down. And so it came to pass that they escaped all safe to land. But on which land is them escape on? Because them not reach Italy yet. They didn't reach Italy yet. So they have escaped on this strange land because this storm, what is storm name again? Euroclydon. This Euroclydon storm is battering the ship and has caused the sailors, the people on the ship to seek refuge just to save their skin, because some can swim and some can't swim. So now now the ship has run aground on a strange island. Them not reach Italy. So now everybody escape, including Paul. Okay. But it says they all escape. All the people who were on the ship. How many people were on the ship, people? Those of you who have been here, who have been listening. Not just a pretend so no listening or no really listening. Huh? How many people were on the ship? I said it a million times. How many people were on this ship with Paul going to Italy? You see, as I know, so I don't remember when me I tell you something, you know. That's why I don't understand. On read Bible, I preach to people, and you can't even remember one little something when me say 5 minutes ago. How many people were on the ship? The first person to say how many people were on the ship get $10. On the talk, on the tube, anybody? How many people were on the ship? You can't say. All right. 276 people. Yes, God gets the $10. Sister Winsome got it too. 276 people were on the ship. Let us continue. We are on to chapter 28. We are on to chapter 28, gentle people. Let us begin. Welcome, everybody. Those of you who are just coming, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I sincerely appreciate you. You are in, if you don't know where you have landed, if your ship just come crashed on the shores of this channel and you don't know who it is, this is Trev from Trevessence. All right? You are at a safe space, a safe place where there is no judgment, there is no condemnation, there is no attempt to convert or convict you of anything that is religious. All right? We are simply just reading the Bible. Just ordinary people here reading the Bible, trying my best, get an understanding of what is written in the Bible and how the contents of the Bible should affect my life. All right? So we are currently on the Acts. We're not reading the Bible all in any state of confusion. We're not reading the Bible, grab a verse here, grab a verse there. All right? We are reading the Bible from the beginning to end. We are reading it in order, even though the Bible is not compiled in chronological order. We are reading it as it is given to us. So we are reading it book after book, chapter after chapter. Yeah. Even though we know that that's not how it's written, how it's compiled. Because, remember, it's not somebody sit down and write the Bible. It's not some inspiration somebody get and write the Bible. The Bible is a compilation of ancient Jewish writings and Jewish events. Yeah, that's what it is. That we now know as the Bible. It's a compilation. Okay, and that is why some of the stories, even though they are similar, they are different. If you were here when we read the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke and John, where they were talking about Jesus's presence, you find that there were some of the stories were a little bit different. And that is what happens when you find different people writing about the same event. You will find that the information differs somewhat. So we encountered those differences as we read the different accounts. Just like, as I had said, sometimes if you are a reader and you read, say, something that you read different accounts of, say, the events of 9/11, you are going to find that there are different details in the different writings. If you read about the life of Mandela, for example, you will find that there are some people who write in favor of Mandela's stance, and then there are others who write against, and there are people who have different accounts, and the information sometimes is the same. Sometimes even his birth date they get wrong. The place where he was born, his original name, stuff like that. We find that too in the Bible, which is not unheard of. Sebastian, how are you doing? Sebastian says he's Cuban, Bahamian, and he was born in Jamaica. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Yeah, long live Bob Marley. Yeah, I tell you. You see him over my head? Is that why you say that? You see Bob Marley over my head? He is. He right there. Let us continue, lovely people. We are moving on to chapter 28. And chapter 28 is the last chapter of the book of the Acts. Okay? So move along with me, gentle people. Let us continue. Let us continue. The Acts chapter 28. And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. So you remember I told you we didn't know where they were. We didn't know where they were. They just crashed on this island. They just crashed on the shores of this island. So let me write this here. The ship taking Paul to Italy, it was crashed on the island of Melita. Melita. Okay. And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. All right. So God say it is modern day Malta. Okay. Oh, is it? Hold on there. Okay. All right. It's according to the Bible, it is called Melita. God says it is modern day. It is modern day Malta. All right. Let us continue. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us every one because of the present rain and because of the cold. Now remember in verse 27, chapter 27 just spoke about the winter. Yeah, there was no buying and selling going on. All right. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. Okay? And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said amongst themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom, though he hath escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. You hear that? So for those of you not here, let me tell you what happened in our language. So the ship has run aground. This is the ship that's carrying Paul and 275 others, where they were supposed to be heading to Italy. The ship has run aground on the island of Melita. May I use what the Bible says now? The island of Melita. They all come off the ship and they all escape onto this island. And the people who are the barbarous people who lived on that island saw them coming onto their island. Now they were making up fire because it was so cold. It was the winter time. It was very, very cold. So had to make up fire to keep warm. Paul go gather up some sticks, come to make fire. As he putting the sticks on the fire, a viper, a snake, bit him and hung on to his hand. The people them say, oh, so this man has got to be a murderer. Maybe that is those people's tradition, that anyhow a snake bite you is because you are a murderer. Because how else would they determine that he's a murderer just because a snake bite him? So even though he has escaped the sea, we are going to have to him. We're going to have to him because he is a murderer. We have determined so because the snake bite him. Me tell you, say, socializations and traditions can cause people to do some crazy things. I mean, also, you know what I talk about. The traditions that we all agree to, follow, and do me tell you, you know, we hear when them say believe kill and believe cure, is a hell of a thing, you know? Hell of a thing, and especially when you are hardlined and you believe in a something, nobody can change, nobody can tell you nothing. Or when the evidence prove that what you believe no make no sense, you're still. They're coming like over there in China where the people them say, you know, in ancient Chinese culture, they say like if you have little feet, you are more desirable. Whoever come up with that, me don't know. If you are a woman and you have little feet, so from there like 5 years old, them they break the bones in their feet and broke up them toes and wrap up them toe in some things and tighten it up in some little boot, only them big toe left so, and tie it up so that their feet don't grow because that will make them desirable. Now who could have went tell me say me must come broke any bone in my body just for some tradition? Me not do it. Nobody can bamboozle me like that. Me no business. What kind of tradition? You understand? Me not do it. So here we have God said them soon change them out. Let's see what's going to happen. One thing we know for sure right here so is that the snake has bitten Paul. This viper is holding on to Paul's hand. And the people of the island Melita believe that Paul is a murderer. Let us continue. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Oh, so I'm shake off the beast, the viper snake, into the fire, and he felt no harm. That means he did not the snake, even though the snake bit him, it didn't harm him. Interesting. Howbeit, they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come of him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Me tell you, so the Bible is so interesting, so interesting, so interesting. So to hear that, so after the snake bite Paul, the people of the island of Melita believe that, well, if the snake bite Paul, Paul has to be a murderer. So if he's a murderer, we're going to murder him before we murder anybody over here. But Paul shook off the snake off of his hand into the fire. And when you look at his hand, there was no sign that he had been bitten by a snake. He wasn't swollen, he didn't drop down dead, none of that. So now the people change their mouth and say, oh, he must be a god then, because, everybody we know who gets bitten by a viper, them either get swollen, very, very ill, or them just drop down and dead. But not Paul. Okay. In the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius. All right, so the chief of the island was Publius, who received us and lodged us for 3 days courteously. God, why make you bad so? Why you bad so? Oh, Craig, good morning. How you doing? How you doing, my love? Good to see you. Happy Wednesday morning to you, my dear. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Good to see you. All right. All right. God says, their men have little feet too. That's a low blow. The men have little feet. You know what little feet lead to. But anyway, we unlock says he's back. Welcome back, my love. We are going to talk off the air later. All right. Oh, Craig said he was making movie moves. The Jamaican poet trailer is out. Oh, is it on your channel? So we can go over there, go watch it. I will be over there. I will be over there later today. Okay, no problem. I will be over there later today, my love. Oh, over there. Fubert, you know how long me I wait for you? Fubert. Oh, Craig says not the movies over there. All right. Fubert, I've been waiting for you. Oh, just the trailer. Okay, Craig. I got you. But good morning, Fubert. Welcome, my love. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you. So what's the word of the day? You tell me what's the word of the day, my love. You tell me what's the word of the day. All right, let us continue. Let us continue reading. All right. We are on to the book of the Acts chapter 28 and now verse 8. And it came to pass that the father of Publius, now Publius is the general, the chief of this island of Melita. The father of Publius, I don't know why this name sounds so funny, Publius, lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, whatever that is. He laid sick, he had a fever and a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed, and laid his hands on him and healed him. And healed him. Craig said, add me for a quick minute. All right, let me see what you said there. Quick minute, my love.
Okay.
Eh?
Intermission. sorry for the intermission. I was just sorting some other things out. Couldn't type. Yeah, it's a film competition I'm in. I created a film within 48 hours, and
Oh yeah, you did
it will
send
be
me that.
screening in. Yeah, so it will be screening on July 10th, and after that, I guess I might can upload it, or I might send it off to other film festivals. So I
Okay.
might not upload the whole film. I might
Just a
might
little
want to
piece.
be entering into a competition and all of that.
Okay.
No, I can't send it yet either because it have to just go through and when all of that go, I would think what I'll be doing after that.
Okay.
But at time for me set a official marking, I think.
Mm.
And the good thing about it doesn't just a movie consist of my poetry, so it promotes both.
Both. Okay.
Promote,
Wonderful.
I promote. I'll be saying triple times because it promotes the poetry, it promotes me and the acting,
Uh-huh.
and it promotes me as a filmmaker.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, my love. You know I'm with you 100%. You know that.
Naturally,
Yeah. You know I'm your day
no,
one
which
supporter. I mean, I'll leave your side. Not
fine.
at all. All right, my love. So we will be talking. We will talk later.
Alright,
Don't worry about it. You can interrupt me
alright,
anytime.
alright. So this try the moment.
All right. We will talk later.
Respect the time.
No
And
problem.
look out for the movie coming soon.
No problem. No problem. I say disturb the Bible reading for commercial. Yeah. Me disturb it for the commercial. From a friend. And that the Bible just a teach. And that the Bible just a teach. So if we love each other. Someone will disturb it. If you advertise for anybody. If you hear what my friend got to say. Because you see, at the end of the day, when I close the Bible, I have my friends. You see me? My friends are my friends. God said the word of the day with some. Yeah, I mean, wait. God said the word of the day is faith. All right, so we are going to have faith today. All right, we are going to continue with the reading. We are going to continue with the reading of the Bible. Yeah. We're reading from the book of the Acts chapter 28, guys. Here we are reading of the ship that is taking Paul. Paul is now a prisoner, and the ship that is taking him to Italy. The Bible even said there is a time and a place and a season for everything under the sun. Eh, they know the time and the season this. The time and the season for me to read and accommodate my friend is the time and the season for it. And I accommodate him today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and every time and all the time. All of my friends them who want to come and say something when I'm on the live. Me not have no restrictions. And a church me I keep. Me not have no restrictions. At the end of the day, my friends are my friends. That's how me see it. But anywho, we are going to continue with the reading. So as I was telling you, those of you who just came, who are just coming into the live, we were talking about, we were reading about Paul. Paul and the other prisoners were now being taken to Italy. I guess they need to go now to go see Caesar because he had made an appeal to the high courts of Caesar to determine whether or not he was supposed to be in prison. Should he be set free or should he be executed? So now they are taking him to Caesar. There are 276 people on this ship. There are days have gone by that they haven't seen the sun or the stars because there is such a terrible storm. What is storm name again? Euroclydon is the name of the storm. And so and so they are having a hard time. They're starting to throw off their provisions off their ship to make the ship lighter. They are starting to seek out islands somewhere to anchor the ship because the ship is being battered by the winds and waves. And on this island called Melita, they have run aground on this island. The front of the ship is broken up. The back of the ship is broken up. The people drop in the water. They are holding on to pieces of the ship, trying to stay alive. Eventually, everybody got to the shore and they realized that the people who occupy this island are some barbarous people who won't have a second thought about slaying them. But it's the winter time and it's very, very, very cold. So they are making fire to keep warm. So Paul goes and he collects some wood as well to put on the fire, to keep the fire burning. And as he's putting this wood on the fire, a viper was in the wood, and the viper snake bit him on the hand. And from that, the people concluded that if a viper bites you, it's because you are a murderer. So they decide that this murderer now going to let go on our land to come murder any of us. So, we might just do him before he do any of us. So they concluded that he was. But Paul shook off this viper off of his hand into the fire. And when they looked on Paul did not look like he was injured at all. They are accustomed to when a viper bites somebody, the person drop down dead or get swollen, get severely ill. But that did not happen to Paul. So now they concluded that Paul must be some kind of a god. And so now he's considered worthy among them. Them start now praising him, and him can get the best food and the best of everything. And the leader, the ruler of this tribe, he's called, what I'm calling him again? I'm telling him name. Publius. He's called Publius. So his father is currently very, very sick. And we can't say, we bring some to raise you up. These people are all over there. So now Publius, his father is very ill. His father has a fever and some other ailments that make him deathly ill. And so Publius, since now we considered Paul to be some kind of a god, he takes Paul to go visit his father. Paul prays for his father, lays hands on his father, and eventually heals Publius's father. Right, so so they're going to make Paul the governor of that island. Me don't know, me just say. Paul said they are all over the place. Yes, they are. Let us continue reading. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a body flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when this was done, others also which had diseases on the island came and were healed. Who also honored us with many honors. And when we departed, they laded us with such things as were necessary. Yeah, Publius was his. But not even know them name existing in the Bible. You see why reading is good? Reading is good enough. Because I better hold upon where I preach. You never even did know say them name in the Bible. Them something in the Bible. Body flux sound like vomiting blood. Me not know what that is. This fever and body flux. That means like sound like him did have vomit and have diarrhea of some sort. No, bloody flux, it says. My bad. It's not body flux, it's bloody flux. So maybe he was vomiting and pooping blood. Yeah, so it says he had bloody flux. Thank you for that card. I not even see it. So it said bloody instead of body. Jenna Wade, what's wrong with you, my love? You better not be feeling no down today. You can't be feeling down. You better be up, my friend. You better be up. You feeling down, we unlock feeling down. So like me going to be on my knees all day. So like me going to be on my knees all day. Eh? But you gotta get up, bro. You can't stay down. You can't stay down. And you gotta let me know. I gotta get one of them art shirts. I gotta get one of them art shirts. I got to. I got to. Okay? I gotta get me one. Not one, two. Yeah. All right, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it off the air. Okay? Oh, that Charmian. Mr. Charmian. Mr. Beloved Charmian. Mr. Charmian. What's up? How you doing, sugar? Lovely. My love. How are you doing? Good to see you. Let us continue, gentle people. We are... Oh, Jenna, so just seeing you lifts me up. Wonderful. I'm so glad that my presence is not a corrosive one. I never strive to have a corrosive presence, neither physically nor virtually. You know? Yeah. So it's always good that my presence makes y'all feel better. All right? So I appreciate you all. Because if my presence didn't make you all feel better, y'all wouldn't keep coming back. So I appreciate y'all. All right? And your presence make me feel better as well. Y'all wouldn't know how much. That's why I come here every morning. If I don't see you all to start my day, trust me, my day just full of bloody flux. But anyway, anyway, we are going to continue with the reading. Those of you over there on the top, thank you for the taps, and those of you on the tube. Me say, I only 8 hours like up the live already. Me appreciate you. No can't hit the like button. Me not do nothing wrong, you know. But let us continue anyway. Now, we are on to verse 10. Who also honored us with many honors. And when we departed, they laded us with such things as were necessary. And after 3 months, you not hear that? After 3 months, we departed. At 3 months, them spend a melita, you know. 3 months. After 3 months, we departed in a ship of Alexandria, which had wintered in the isle, whose sign was Castor and Pollux. And landing at Syracuse, we tarried there for 3 days. And from there we fetched a compass and came to Rhegium. That's a place called Rhegium. We fetched a compass and came to Rhegium, or Rhegium, however they pronounce it. And after 1 day, the south wind blew, and we came the next day to Puteoli, where we found brethren, and were desired to tarry with them for 7 days, and so we went towards Rome. And from thence, when the brethren heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Apilforum, and the 3 taverns, whom, when Paul saw, he thanked God and took courage. You see again, so it's not Paul writing. This is not Paul writing. This is Paul being written about, but this is not Paul writing. Let us continue. Verse 16. And when we came to Rome, the centurion delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard. But Paul was suffered to dwell by himself with a soldier that kept him. And it came to pass that after 3 days, Paul called the chief of the Jews together. And when they were come together, he said unto them, Men and brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of our fathers, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, who, when they had examined me, would have let me go, because there was no cause of death to me. But when the Jews spoke against it, I was constrained to appeal unto Caesar, not that I had aught to accuse my nation of. For this cause, therefore, have I called for you, to see you, and to speak with you, because that for the hope of Israel I am bound with this chain. And they said unto him, We neither receive letters out of Judea concerning thee, we neither received letters out of Judea concerning thee, neither any of the brethren that came shewed or spake any harm of thee. But we desire to hear of thee what thou thinkest. For as concerning this sect, we know that everywhere it is spoken against. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of God, persuading them concerning Jesus, both out of the law of Moses and out of the prophets, from morning till evening. So Paul went to Rome to be judged. And instead of being judged in Rome, Paul is now preaching and teaching the same thing, the same doctrine for which he was being imprisoned. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Let us continue. And some believed the things which were spoken, and some did not believe, as is expected. And when they agreed not amongst themselves, they departed. After that, Paul had spoken one word. Well, spake the Holy Ghost by Isaiah the prophet unto our fathers. That is, Isaiah was in the Old Testament. Okay, saying, Go unto this people and say, Hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not perceive. For the heart of this people is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Be it known therefore unto you, that the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles, and that they will hear it. And when he had said these words, the Jews departed, and had great reasoning amongst themselves. And Paul dwelt for 2 whole years in his own hired house, and received all that came unto him. So Paul dwelt there for 2 years. Oh, wow. By this time, no more than 4 years now since the people had made that oath. Hey, Mercedes, what's up? By now, it is more than 4 years since the people had made that oath that they shall not eat or drink until Paul is dead. Verse 31, and this is actually the last verse of chapter 28 and of the book of the Acts. Okay? Preaching the kingdom of God and teaching those things which concern the Lord Jesus Christ, with all confidence, no man forbidding him. So I'll know, go to Caesar, I'll know Caesar and I say, it's okay, I guess. It's okay with Caesar that he stays there. They not put him in a prison when he reached Rome. Yeah, when he reached Rome, they didn't imprison him. They give him his own little house, his own little place to stay in. And in that little place, he is receiving people. He is receiving people, and he's praying for people and laying hands on them and healing them. And for 2 whole years, he stayed there rather than be imprisoned. Let me think. Wasn't it? say, God, that's exactly what was crossing my mind. Because I remember he had told the people that he was a Roman, right? He had told the Jews back in, I think it was chapter 23, he had told them that he was a Roman who had come to Jerusalem to persecute and was being used by the leadership in Jerusalem to persecute the Jews. Okay, okay. I mean, know me head now run. Me know me head. Tafarim, what's up, my love? How you doing? Kimberly, what's up? Yeah. So he was a Roman citizen. So now he's back there and put him in prison. He's continuing to preach and to teach. All right. That is where we are going to end the. Because if me sure some head now run, me not too sure about it. Me not too sure about it, but me I gotta take it with a grain of salt. So it not run yet. All right, yeah. Yes, guys. So that is where we are going to come to the end of this morning's reading. Yeah. When we come back tomorrow morning, we are going to start with the reading of the Romans. And the Romans says that is the epistle of Paul. Now, I guess in the book of the Romans, that's where we are going to hear Paul himself speaking. I don't know, I'm just saying, that's where we're going to hear Paul himself speaking of his experience now in Rome after being brought back a prisoner to see what his encounters are, what his experiences are after he had now become a preacher and teacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. All right. So when we come back tomorrow, we will start there. We will start with the book of the Romans. I want to say thanks to everybody who has come into the live. I sincerely appreciate you all, my friend Jenna Wade. Yes, we unlock. You are going to be in our prayers today. My friend Tafarim just rolled up into the place. Paul was here, Cad and Winsome, and we unlocked everybody else who came into the live. I know Charmaine was here earlier, Craig was here, and many other people were here. Had stopped into the live. Those of you who tapped, and Richard, what's up, my love? What are you doing? Answer what time you're gonna start in the morning. All right. So this is the deal with tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is going to be later than this, because this is Eastern Standard Time we're working with. I am 1 hour ahead of Jamaica. Yeah. I am 5 hours behind England and 6 behind France over there. You know what I mean. Right. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that we start at 8 o'clock. I am supposed to get off work at 7:30. So once I get off work, I will start. I might even bring my Bible with me, which I always do anyway. But I might start right as I get off work and finish the live in the parking lot before coming home. We could do that too. I might do that. All depends. But tomorrow morning, look for me not before 8 o'clock. Yeah. Or I should say not before 7:30. Oh, you are in the US. Are you on the East Coast? Because I am on the East Coast. So right now for me it is 14 minutes after 7. Are you and I on the same time? Yeah, this is my time. 7:15. You are so welcome, Sister Winsome. Okay, so if you and I are on the same time, then it's going to be after 7:30. Yeah. Because I'm gonna have to do it after I get off work. Okay? So when we come back tomorrow, we will continue with the reading of the rather interesting, but you are welcome, Anne. The rather interesting Bible, where we are going to be reading chapters 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we're going to read Roman chapters 1, 2, and 3 tomorrow morning. All right. So that's where we are going to end this morning. Thanks again to everybody who came into the live. I sincerely appreciate you all. Join us again tomorrow morning, same place on my channel, Trev Essesnce on the talk and Trevessence Unstoppable on the tube. Okay? Join me tomorrow morning around about 8 o'clock where we will continue with this quest to read the Bible from the beginning to the end. Until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Sister Winsome, we will talk. All right? Have a great day, guys.